Hello, Saginaw. Welcome to another episode of Saginaw Spotlight, where we shine a light on the incredible individuals and businesses that make our city shine. I'm your host, Alex, and today we have a truly special guest. Joining us today is Nicole, representing Great Lakes Bay Animal Society, the nonprofit dedicated to animal rescue, adoption, and awareness. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
Thank you for being here. Okay, let's dive right in. One thing that's unique about your animal rescue is that you don't have a physical shelter. So I understand it's a network of foster homes. Can you tell us how that works?
Yeah, that's right. So we are a foster-based rescue. To your point, we don't have a building. We have a PO box. We have a storage unit. If we have meetings, we have them at a community location. And really, we rely on folks from the community who are interested in fostering, uh, volunteering to be fosters with our organization to take animals into their homes. We provide the veterinary care, but they still have to take them to appointments. They have to give them their medications. Of course, they offer them love and socialization. And then they go help through the adoption process as well, screening applicants, arranging for the adoption, doing home visits. So they're very hands-on when they're fostering.
Wow. That's a special person who would foster a dog like that. It's more than just adopting, because adopting, okay, this dog's going to be my permanent, family member, but fostering, that's a special person who would do that, huh?
It is a special person, and there ends up being a lot of foster fails, what we
Really?
call foster fails, which is that the folks end up adopting the animal that they're fostering because they fall in love with the animal. So those of us who have been fostering for a while, if we kept everyone that we fostered, we'd have a house full of 100 animals. So it does, I think it gets easier the more you do it to
Yeah,
ultimately say goodbye. But even I have to admit, there's some that are harder to let go of than others.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Even when you see them going to wonderful, amazing homes, there's still a few that really tug at your heart. But
yeah.
hey, it's all worth it when you get the photos, the videos, the emails of, the animal thriving in their new home that make it all worth it.
Awesome. I would call it a foster success if they
Yeah.
decide to adopt, right? It's not a
Yeah,
fail. When you
it
said
is.
foster fail, I thought, oh no, a terrible foster. That's what I thought.
Oh, now
Because it's a fail. Oh, you got a bad foster. Oh, right?
no.
Someone who neglected the dog or something. No, you got good. That's the best outcome possible is they got a good home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the ultimate goal. Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. So I hear that your group is organizing a 5K trail run. Yeah, can you
Yeah,
tell us
that's
about that?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Fast and Furious 5K. And also there's a silent auction that goes with that. So it's coming up on Saturday, May 3rd at Midland City Forest. It's our 12th one. I can't say 12th annual because of the pandemic. We had a little gap in there, but 12th event in our 10 years since we've been in existence. So it's an established event. We have a kind of the whole thing down to a science in terms of how it progresses. And the cool thing about it is that it's a race where folks can race with their dog. If they have a dog. So there's two different races. There's a race that's without dogs that goes off first at 9 o'clock. And then 15 minutes later, we start the race with dogs. And it's a timed event. So we have a timer come in. So everybody's got a bib with a chip on it. So if folks are, training for races and care about their times, it is legitimate. It gets timed and recorded. And the folks that are there really it's so cool. I mean, there's so many dogs and there's so many different kinds of dogs, and it's worth I tell you, it's worth even if you don't want to do the 5K or the run, just coming to the event to see all the dogs. It's really neat.
Awesome. Awesome. It sounds great.
Yeah.
And the silent auction sounds interesting too. Is that where people are donating items to be auctioned in order to raise funds to help the dogs?
Yeah, this event is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It provides the bulk of the money that we have for the year to be enabled because as you know, any nonprofit relies on donations, and this is a event that does pretty well for us. So yeah, the silent auction component, it's actually a virtual silent auction and it's open now. It opened up today.
Oh,
So anybody that lives in I'd say kind of a 20 or 30-mile radius to be able to deliver gifts to can bid on the items, and it closes on the day of the race, and we will have all the items at the race as well. So people can view them in person if they're there, but they can bid on them in advance or they can bid on them the day of. And yes, we have
awesome.
almost 100 items this year on our silent
Okay.
auction. Folks from the community have been so incredibly generous, and I've had some fantastic volunteers that have helped me get the whole thing organized and take great pictures of everything and put wonderful descriptions. So, there's something for everybody on this silent auction. So, if folks are interested in supporting Great Lakes Bay Animal Society, but they can't make it on May 3rd, or they're, just not really so much in the area to come, um, check out the silent auction. It's really some cool stuff on there.
Cool. I'm going to check it out as soon as we finish here because
Thank
I
you.
like auctions and I like, yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Um, what is your favorite part about organizing an event like this?
It's a good question because it's a lot of work. I mean, we start back in October, really, with the planning committee, getting things ready, getting the sponsor letter ready, making sure the event is reserved at Midland City Forest, getting the timer reserved. And then, of course, approaching all of our sponsors. It's a million little things, right, to get this organized. And right now we're about, less than 2 weeks away. So things are at a fever pitch in terms of, getting all the little details to come into solidify, I should say. But last year was my first year chairing it, and we got a lot of good feedback. Like they enjoyed the event, that they thought it was a well organized event. And of course, there's, year to year, there's always, oh, we'll do things differently, a little differently next time. You learn from each one. But I think, I think the greatest satisfaction is that the people that are there have a good time, that they enjoy it. And if we can provide that experience, and also they know, they're supporting a good cause. If we can and provide a good experience, then everybody will have a good thought about Great Lakes Bay Animal Society, and maybe spread the word about us and our mission and what we're trying to accomplish here in the mid-Michigan area.
Awesome. Awesome. Are there going to be dogs that are available for adoption at the event or
There
no?
won't
That
be. No,
won't be.
not, yeah, not at the event. At any time through our
Awesome.
website, we've got, a link to our pet finder so folks can
Oh,
check
cool.
out our adoptable pets. We also partner with the Pet Supplies Plus in Saginaw on State Street. We have the habitats there. So that's mostly for cats. So our cats that we have up for adoption, if appropriate, they can go in there, and a lot they get a lot of attention there. A lot of
Oh,
people in and out, and if at any, I know we just put one in this morning, so we've got a very sweet kitty there. We'll have kittens coming in soon. So yeah, if, at any given time, if they see animals there, those are with Great Lakes Bay Animal Society.
awesome. I'm
Yeah.
very familiar with that Pet Supplies Plus over there.
Yeah.
I know it well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. One thing that surprised me, you mentioned Midland forest? I didn't know they had a forest. They have a forest? Is it a big park? Yeah.
It's a big park, Midland City Forest. Yeah. You know, I didn't know much about it either before I got involved with Great Lakes Bay Animal Society. And, our 5K takes up just a smidgen of the immense no amount of trails that they have at this park. And it's really something to check out.
Yeah.
The trails are beautiful. It's funny because we always say we have this event, rain or shine, which we will. But even if it's raining, even if it's windy on the day of the event, once you get back in those trails and are running, it almost doesn't matter, because it's got such a canopy and it's so wooded and pretty that, yeah, they might get a little slashy, but it's really a wonderful, just miles and miles and miles of groomed trails through this woods. And Midland City does a wonderful job of keeping it maintained.
That's awesome. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
check out that forest. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
5K. The 5K sounds like a lot of fun. It's good to
Yeah.
run, and especially with your dog, that's a great way to do it, you know. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it is. The dogs are out there having a blast. At first they're like, Mom, Dad, why aren't we going for a walk? Because they're waiting for the time, their time to race. But once they get going, they're just so happy, and it's just it's a really cool event.
That's fantastic. Before we continue, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Iva Road Dog Sitting. If you're looking for a safe, fun place for your friendly dog, Iva Road Dog Sitting serves the entire Saginaw area. They have a big fenced yard, a cozy home environment, and all dogs get free daily walks. Dogs love it there. Mention this podcast and get 3 free days of dog sitting. That's a $100 value. Text Iva Road Dog Sitting at 989-954-7210. And we're back with Nicole from Great Lakes Bay Animal Society. Nicole, please tell us about one of your local celebrities, Zane the Great Dane.
Oh, Zane. Yeah, that dog was quite a rescue. I mean, he was abused, neglected, starved, had kennel cough. He was, just completely mistreated and abused, really. And our dog coordinator took him in, and really that dog just blossomed under her. She fostered him personally, and he was just such this grand dog when he got healthy, and just as sweet as can be for all he'd been through. He ended up being just the nicest dog. And yeah, he was featured last year on the segment that was done on the news, and he got a lot of applications. Our foster coordinator ended up adopting him herself because she
Oh,
just couldn't
wow.
let go. So she truly
Wow.
had another foster fail.
Oh, well, a foster success. She did
Foster
it.
success, yes.
But yeah, he brought a lot of good attention. And, a lot of people, it's very sad what you do because it's a lot of sad stories, but
Uh,
happy stories, man, that makes a bad start and a happy ending is my favorite story, right? Because,
yeah, that's right.
and that's why you do this, huh?
Yeah, and the animals are so resilient, I mean, we can learn so much from them. They they can turn around and completely somehow put the past behind them. There's a lesson to be learned there, and for all of us. And they can end up, come to us, scared, uh, you know, uh, even hissing sometimes, or very, kind of behavioral issues, and then just blossom into this wonderful animal with the right, attention and love and care. And it's the most rewarding thing. It really is. It's just completely, just warms your heart.
Yeah, yeah. I can't think of more important work than what you're doing. Okay, so
Yeah.
you have another celebrity. I'm talking about Frips the three-legged cat.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That poor little kitten was thrown from a vehicle when she was a kitten, and it was witnessed. So a good-hearted community member picked her up and contacted us, and we had a gal who took her into foster, and she ended up needing her leg amputated. But you'd never know with this cat that, she has three legs because she adapted so well. And you're just a really lovely family adopted her. And yeah, like you said, they named her Crips because they play poker. And she, it's a I forget the poker term actually, but yeah,
Ah,
but they just love her. She's the queen of the house. Uh, she just owns the husband. I mean, she's just all over him and just thinks. I think she thinks the husband is her boyfriend. Yeah, she's there.
that's
It's another
awesome.
great success story, and that again, the resilience of animals is really astounding. Yeah,
Yeah, the resilience of animals, it's noble how they forgive us, but then sometimes,
yeah,
I mean, it's also good for an animal to remember when someone was mean to you so that, right? I mean, it
yeah.
shouldn't be so, sometimes they trust and then a bad owner continue. It's so sad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's funny too. I mean, there's a lot of rescues out there doing a lot of good work. And despite all of us, it's still not enough. There's still more need than there are rescues out there. And some of that's limited by funding, which is always the case for any rescue. You never have enough, funds to do what you want to do. I mean, one high needs animal can be a budget buster, can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, whether it be an amputation or a full mouth extraction or taking them to various specialists. We have one right now in foster that's got some sort of hepatitis and having to go down to see an internist in the Flint area. So, you take on these animals, sometimes you don't always know what you're getting. But, once we have the animal in our rescue, we're really committed to seeing through with their care. And no matter what that means. Um, but I'd say the other limiting factor really is just not having enough fosters, not, enough folks. We'll get calls, and we really do try to prioritize calls from the community, whether that comes, messaging us through Facebook or sending us an email and saying, hey, I've got whether they say, a litter of kittens was born under my porch, or I live out in the country and, this dog or cat was abandoned, we think, or, this elderly woman went into an assisted living and we need somebody to take her animals. Like we try to prioritize those calls because that's the community reaching out for help. Like they really want to help these animals. They just don't quite know how. And, you know, it's sometimes they think we have a building, which we don't. But when we establish that we're a foster rescue, it's kind of like we don't just have people waiting in the wings to foster, right? It's, all of us are usually fostering nonstop that are kind of a core group. So, if they reach out to us, my question back usually is, would you be willing to foster them through us? Would you be willing to come on board with us? There's, a little kind of application, and then, we do a home visit, and then, there's kind of a final adoption, I'm sorry, a foster agreement. But, you know, if and a lot of times people haven't considered that before. They're just wanting to say, please just, take these cats from me or take these kittens from me. And it's like, well, we can help, but we just don't have just an open foster to take them. So we've been able to, I think, fairly successfully uh, bring folks on board to foster, even if it's just one time, and give them that experience, which I think a lot of them don't think they can do it, and they can, if they have allergies or there's other situations where they just work too much or something, and it's not a possibility. But a lot of times, people, oh, I couldn't possibly foster. It's like, well, but you have a separate a bedroom that's not being used, that you could keep the cats in. You only work part-time or you work from home or you homeschool your children, like you have some flexibility to take them to uh, veterinary appointments or veterinary visits. And lo and behold, they become a foster and take these cats through. And I think, for as much as they're helping out the cats, which or dogs, which they do, um, it probably ends up being as much that the animals end up helping them, for having this positive experience and really feel like they're making a difference.
Yeah, yeah. And one surprise I had recently was if you call the Saginaw Animal Control, often they can tell you, sorry, we're full,
Yeah,
right?
that's
That's
right.
crazy because I
Yep.
assumed that if you see a stray animal, you could say, hello, can you, and they would help, right? No, they go, we're full. I didn't know they
Yeah.
could do that. That's kind of a
Yeah.
surprise for a lot of people in the public that the government can just say, you're on your own with that, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that,
Yeah, that's
that's a
right.
disappointing thing.
It's heartbreaking. And I think part of that too is in this area, we just don't have a lot of low cost spay neuter. I think more people would, um, I think we could promote it better. There'd be more folks willing to do it. But I think a lot of it just comes down to, they just don't have the means to get, all of their animals spayed and neutered, which is is perpetuates the problem, right? So
Yeah,
I'm hoping that soon in Saginaw we can have some better solutions for that because it will make a dent and it will make a difference. The other thing that made a difference, obviously, is making it worse is the pandemic. And, when everything shut down for a while, including, spay neuter, I tell you, just 1 year of things really slowing down uh, multiplies itself tenfold, right?
yeah, yeah.
All the kittens that were born that year that could have been avoided with spay and neuter, a couple of X number of years later, we're seeing the unfortunate results of that.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
Cool. Besides trips and Zane, is there any rescue stories that make you smile when you think about them?
Yeah. There was a couple of cats that I fostered personally. They were a situation where they had elderly owners and the husband passed away, and then the wife uh, was at a skilled nursing facility for quite a few months and then ultimately passed away. So these cats, these two wonderful cats, were kind of by themselves. I mean, somebody was coming in to feed them once a day, changing their litter box, but they were so used to with the elderly owner getting constant attention, and a lot of love and attention just constantly throughout the day. So we got a call to take them. I took them in, and one of them ended up being FIV positive. And he he as soon as I got him, they were so loving, both of them, just purred and wanted your attention all the time. But I could tell that he had this drool coming out of his mouth, and as with many FIV cats, he had a mouth infection that meant he had to have all of his teeth extracted and taken out. Uh, he he once he got that tooth extraction, that cat just blossomed into the most loving, even kind of frisky, feisty kind of guy. And finally got to the point where we put him up for adoption. I listed him as normal for a while and I didn't get any hits. And by the way, He was this long-haired, black, gorgeous kitty. I mean, just stunning, stunningly handsome boy. And I didn't get any hits. So then I thought, I think I'm going to change his to special needs because he had FIV. I changed to special needs. And the next day, I got the most wonderful application for him from this couple that lived downstate a little bit. They lived in Ann Arbor, who had a cat that had passed away that looked just like him. That was also FIV positive, that had also had a full mouth extraction. And they
Oh,
just fell in love with this cat instantly. Like they couldn't adopt him quickly enough. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is too good to be true. So yeah, they keep in good touch and send updates because Fuzzy Harry was his name. I don't know how. It's definitely a name that older people gave to this cat,
yes.
this beautiful, handsome cat named Fuzzy Harry. He had a wonderful second chance at an amazing life. And I couldn't have asked for a better adoption scenario for him. They are just in love with him, treat him like a king. He has a adopted sibling in their house, and the two of them cuddle together. And yeah, just whenever I think about it, I just can't believe that that story ended so perfectly because he was a sick boy, and who knows how much longer with FIV he would have lasted with an infection like that in his mouth. Would have taken him sooner or later. Yeah.
That is a happy story, and it
Yeah.
accents what you do and the importance of your work. So that is great. That is great. If if any of our listeners want to get involved and help your organization, how can they find you?
Yeah. They can find us on Facebook at Great Lakes Bay Animal Society, or they could contact us via our website or check out our website at glbas.org. It stands for Great Lakes Bay Animal Society.org. And there's all the information too about the Fast and Furious race and the silent auction, as well as information about fostering, adopting, volunteering. There's different online forms that they can fill out for various things that interest them.
Awesome, awesome. This is important work, and um, man, it's never going to end, huh? It's you're
Never
just
going to
going to keep
end. All you
sad,
can
but
do, all you can do is just do good by the ones you have, one animal
yeah,
at a time. And, you make a difference in that animal's life and the people that adopt them's life. We enhance and enrich the folks that adopt these animals and also the fosters. Like I said, I think the folks that foster end up having, I go, just a better it enhances their quality of life just overall when they bring these animals into their home and know that they're doing something good for the society and for their community at large.
yeah. They are a special class of really good people that
Yes.
we need more of them.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
In every part of our society, we need more good people, but especially for
True that.
animal rescue, we do need
Yeah.
more good.
Yep.
A big thank you for coming on the show and sharing your stories. And I want all the listeners to support this noble organization. Go attend the 5K run and get involved and help these animals in crisis. Okay. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can find us on Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search for Saginaw Spotlight. Until next time, Saginaw, keep shining.